Welcome to Talk Around the Clock, where we talk, with your host, Tony. Today is episode 8, with his friend, Roy.
Yo, dude, what's up? It's Talk Around the Clock, all talk, all the time, man. And it's episode 8, so it's very special. I have my best friend, Roy, on. What's up, dude?
Hi, Tony. What's up?
What's up, dude? You know, down at the Mario Taqueria, they call me Taco Tony.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's cool.
Yeah, dude.
It's tight.
You have like any nicknames or anything I don't know about?
No. I'm a registered sex offender, but no.
That's cool.
No nicknames.
All right, well, today's story is from the news, where they talk about things that happen. And there was a car crash on 635, the highway.
That sucks.
Yeah, because of traffic, man. People like waiting around and stuff.
My Uber Eats is going to take forever, dude.
Dude, don't even get me started, dude.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy, man. There was a carjacking at my grandma's this week.
Bro, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man. So I was on X, and I saw that there's this lady, and she's suing Whataburger. We were talking about earlier. Uber Eats, Whataburger, they're getting sued because the buns have mold on them.
Really? I like Whataburger.
I don't know how I feel about Whataburger. It's like mostly, like their fries are pretty stale.
They got spicy ketchup, though.
For real.
This one time, I had a girlfriend, and she was a terrible cook.
Bro, that's what they're for. That sucks. I didn't know you had a girlfriend, though.
Good one, yeah. Taco Tony.
So you're using it.
It's pretty cool, actually.
That's a good name. All right, so thanks for watching. Talk Around the Clock, all talk, all the time. This was Roy and Tony. Thank you so much for showing up and watching. You should come back next week, man.
Yeah, I'll probably come. I might go to Kohl's, though.
Kohl's Cash, dude. Tons of stuff to talk about. All the deals you're going to get?
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about Bitcoin. I've always been kind of a Kohl's Cash man myself. So
it always goes up, dude.
You can't lose when you got Kohl's Cash in the bank.
You got a diamond hand in that stuff, bro. All right. Peace.
This has been an excellent Talk Around the Clock with Tony. Please tune in to episode 9 with special guest Jennifer.
Ahoy and hello, it's me, Dave, and this is the news. AI technology has shown us what Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, and Amy look at that already.
Oh.
Amy Winehouse, we all remember her, members of rock's infamous 27 Club would look like today.
Oh. Wait. I think you mean more, it's more like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's more accurate.
That looks really good. It's crazy what technology can do.
It's amazing.
I know, it really is.
AI technology is terrifying.
Yep.
Actor Daniel Radcliffe is catching heat from tennis star Martina Navratilova.
Nailed it.
Thank you. For advocating trans rights in female sports. Radcliffe is most famous for playing his role in Harry Potter, if you've seen those films, where he casts pro-trans spells. My favorite was Dickus removus.
It's a solid one.
It's a solid one.
Solid one.
Yeah. And reparo parental relationship-o.
That's true. Solid. Isn't the woman who
work,
write
though.
that hate trans? Isn't that the whole issue? J.K. Rowling?
Supposedly.
I don't know.
It's a turf, whatever that
For
means.
Reddit, I'm a man.
Yeah.
No offense for all you men that read it, but
Hey!
like you. A man was denied trying to bring emotional support alligator to a Phillies game this past weekend. It's the real guy. He was especially upset when another man was allowed to access with his seeing eye AIDS chimp.
Oh.
And we didn't bring up that picture. There we go.
Oh,
Look at it.
That's why. You know what?
He even got his legs crossed the way that an AIDS chimp would. All right, welcome to the show. I'm Dave Landau.
I'm quarterback Garrett.
And today we are joined by Angela.
Hi.
And please welcome the host of Face Off on Fox Soul and lawyer, Charles Adams.
Oh, thank you, sir.
How are you, buddy?
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for coming onto the show, seriously.
Thank you for having me. Seriously.
Yes. How's life?
Life is good. You know,
Good.
it's still hot as hell. I thought it'd be colder or cooler in Dallas than
You'd think.
Houston, but it's still an armpit.
In Detroit, it's garbage if you want to go there.
Oh, was it worse?
Yeah, it's always chilly and
Oh, chilly.
the weather
wish it was
itself.
chilly.
Yeah, there you go. I've been to Detroit. There's no need to go back, right?
Yeah, well, if we got good music. It usually leaves there and produces it somewhere else, but it starts there.
The cars were good.
Yeah, they make those other places too, like Mexico now.
Oh.
And they make far better cars elsewhere as well. I don't know if you've driven a Buick lately, but it's a piece of shit, right?
Dang it.
How dare you being
It's
right?
like their thing.
It's all I got.
There you go.
I know, but yeah, I like some. I don't know. I haven't driven a recent Buick. I haven't seen it need to.
No.
I'd be honest, I didn't know they still made them.
I think Plymouth died. And
Plymouth is gone.
Pontiac
Yeah.
died.
Pontiac died,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah, the neon didn't
sad.
skyrocket them to superstardom for some reason. Or the Seabreeze, remember that one?
Oh,
The
yeah.
drop top?
Yeah, that was nice, but I'm older, right? I remember like the Chrysler K car, like
Oh,
the
yeah?
convertible.
Ooh,
It
yeah.
was very. I will say, when I was a policeman, I drove a Crown Vic Police Interceptor, and that was a fucking hell of a car.
Those are
to
tough.
oppress people with. Right?
Well, of course. The Mercury Marauder also.
Oh, shit,
That
yeah.
thing was dope.
Right.
Did you have, what year Crown Vic?
So my first one was a '94, which was the year I started, and the captain liked me, and
RoboCop body almost.
Oh, yeah.
it was the smooth one. Yeah, it wasn't the boxy.
Which
thing.
ones were the ones that blew up? Were those Crown Vics?
I don't think
Like
so.
if you hit him in the back.
No, that was the Pinto.
Those are you're way off.
My
There
mom
weren't
actually,
police cars? They didn't have Pinto police cars?
late 70s, you know, single mom, we were poor. My mom actually had one, and the floorboard on the passenger side had rusted through. So if you fucked up and dropped your Star Wars figure, it
was
would
gone.
fall onto the ground. They were really, really dangerous, awful cars. And the measuring stick to know that you were really, really poor in the 70s. Thank
Well,
you for that.
You blow up and die.
Just reminding you of your pain.
Yeah, the triggers. I'm fucking triggered. I need to get on Reddit
my
to
C-3PO?
feel better. I'm gonna post this somewhere.
There's also the late 70s Ford. It was either a Fiesta or Festiva my friend had that would also rot out in the middle. And he threw bumps on it, and the bumps shook off every mirror periodically over time. And I mean like 3 months.
Are you talking about the tiny one?
Yeah.
That was like, I think dropped in like 83, 84 is the
Yeah,
Festiva. Yeah, you could get one for like 39 cents, I think.
Correct. It looked like the Omni. They came out of vending machines.
It and the Yugo really competed for, yeah.
Didn't those have 3 wheels?
No, it had 4 wheels, but it was
What was that car that had 3 wheels and it was always flipping?
called a 3-wheeler, and it killed people, yes.
I wish it was the Plymouth Prowler.
There you go.
What is that new one
Prowler.
that people ride? The motorcycle car?
Oh, dude, one of my buddies, a cop buddy of mine, just got one of those 2-seater ones, and it's like a Roush package. With I don't know what it was called, but I mean, he was very proud of it, and I just let him have that. You know,
It's nice of you.
right?
'Cause if my friend bought it, I'd be like, oh man, I might just wait to rear end you. I'd be like, oh man, I
It looks like a big wheels.
I mean to paralyze
In
you.
reverse, right?
Yeah.
And let's not shit talk the big wheel child, right? Because
No,
the
big
big
wheels are
wheels were fire. Remember the one day that you pull the lever and you'd burn out?
E-brake.
You drift that fucker, right?
First day, my bully took my big wheel, smashed the tire in, so every time I rode, there was one lump, so it was just going like this.
I have a question. What were you, 5'5"?
Probably about 5.
So was your bully like a year younger than you?
No,
top of that?
6
Okay.
years older than me.
Oh shit. Well, you were quick though, right? The little guys were always quick as shit, right?
Yeah.
So you could run away. I couldn't run away from the older kids. Plus, when you're like, I was like 6'1" when I was like 9. So the older kids wouldn't feel bad about beating the shit out of you because you were as tall as they were. But, I was like the size of, I don't know, this tiny, skinny little fucker.
Well, yeah, you're like Gumpy at that age.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was the biggest kid in my class until freshman year. Everybody's like, "You going out for football freshman year, Landau?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then freshman year, they're like, "Oh God, what happened?" I'm like, "I took up smoking, found weed and alcohol."
Just stopped,
Freshman year, that's kind of late because we took that shit up in 7th. We started dipping Skull Bandits in 4th grade, right?
We dabbled.
We started with cigarettes in 6th, and then we went to weed at 7th.
What is the Skull Bandit?
Okay, it's basically dip for pussies, right? And I'm not being misogynist. I'm talking male pussy, right? It's in a little fabric pouch, so you don't get all this
women
spit. You're not.
Oh, I've seen those before.
I don't think they have those anymore, right? I don't think. But and that's what we would hide out in our little bamboo fort. This is early mid 80s. I graduated high school in 90. So real porn was still a thing, right? If you got your hands on some magazines, we had this little fort in the woods where we had our Skull Bandits and our porn, and it wasn't progressive like it is now where guys will just we couldn't admit to each other we were jacking off with the porn. It was just to look at, because we were
you get the fort on Saturdays, I get it on Sunday afternoons.
Because we were all getting tail right in 5th grade, according to each other.
Very experienced.
Until my friend Carlo Cardani came out and was like, "Yeah, I jerk off," and we're like, "You do? Like, what a weirdo!" And then everybody's kind of like, "What a hero!"
Right?
So do I. And then we all got to be honest.
Right there you go.
Yeah, we had a little spot behind our garage that was just all weeded out. So we called it Vietnam, and that's where we kept all of our porn. It was like in a box, like underneath some plants.
Did your mom ever find it?
Yeah, a couple. Oh yeah, she found so much stuff.
How did she respond to the porn?
She responded relatively half blind.
Like in denial?
Like, get rid of this, or you talk to my dad, and my dad, I remember, caught us in the back of his car. We were looking at the Playboy with Pamela Lee on it.
Yeah.
And he looks at it and he goes, "She's pretty," and never said another word about it.
Yeah, dads were much more laissez-faire, but I was raised by a single mom in Austin, Texas, and she was,
pretty biblical.
Strict?
No. She was super. I got sat down with it, and we're not talking Playboy, you goddamn. We're talking we're talking Genesis. We're talking the real shit, right? And I got this like 2-hour lecture about misogyny and how me consuming, having this promotes the oppression of women, and I, she lost her mind, right? She even threw away. Do you remember the Heavy Metal magazine?
Yeah.
Fucking great. It would have cartoon images with
Heavy Metal,
like the labia and everything. Oh yeah, it was rad. Great reading. That and Omni were really great sci-fi magazines, but no, I got all that shit taken away. It was.
I grew up in like the in between, so there was still magazines, but I had the internet. But it wasn't the internet. Now you couldn't just get anything when you wanted. It was like, and then you'd be like, nipple.
Right. The
So,
Duke Nukem
took a lot
years of
longer.
the early internet. Right.
Yeah, we had VHS, and sometimes we'd go have a homeless guy buy him, and we'd be like, "All right, dude, here, like interracial, he likes fat girls," and then
You have a list. You're like, here's my order.
yeah, and then that's how they would
Uber
do it.
Eats.
Yeah, we had the homeless guys buy our beer. We just did it. We moved different and all.
Yeah, we did both though. We're like two-stop shopping, but you never want to get the porn a homeless guy buys.
No, you don't.
If it's his choice.
Yeah, you just end up with a handle of pop off and the dirtiest smut you've ever seen in your life. You're like, "Is this all guys?"
Like, I've seen some stuff.
I've seen a lot of things.
A lot of things. Got tastes.
Because, I'm 51. I just learned the term eating groceries because some woman was bitching on Twitter about it being manipulated and doing that. I mean, I'd heard eating cake. These kids today, like the stuff we thought was hardcore stuff back in the day, these kids today.
I'm going to have to Google that.
What is eating groceries?
Eating a sack is like
it's like eating ass, but maybe, not the cleanest ass.
Oh.
I don't know. It's horrible. It's horrible.
See,
Horrible. You kids today.
take a shower.
See, we didn't even eat that back in the
Hey, no, we did not.
It wasn't even a
Stay away from
thought.
Yeah. No,
If somebody
it's-
was like, "Eat that," you would just go tell all your friends, and then we would tell everybody that that's what the girl liked, and then she would have a nickname that followed that.
the rest of her life.
That's awful. You probably ruined lives. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
She's married with 6 kids now, but still can't get on Facebook because she's afraid y'all might tell her husband. It's the kind of shit you do, you bastard.
It's like a 90% chance you're right.
Yeah. See, we were I kept it very tight because I liked to get the pussy, so I didn't talk about the pussy. It's
That's class.
kind of like killing people, right? If you're going to do it, because there are people in the world that need a killing, right? But you don't talk about the killing.
No, I was very, very chivalrous, actually, to the girls who I loved.
Okay.
There was just always...
Your mom? Or
Yeah, that's... No. Yes, of course. But no, but there was always like the practice girl who already had a nickname. Like we had Tina the Sperm Cleaner because of the Too Short song. We had, there was like different... Sorry, this sounds so mean. Yeah. Now that I say it out loud at the age of 41, and I'm so glad I have
the good old days.
But yeah, it's like you had certain girls that had nicknames.
We called them training wheels.
Yeah, one was.
How horrible is that, right?
Yeah.
The ones that were ready.
Such a prude.
The ones that were ready in 7th and 8th grade, you called them training wheels.
And one girl was in fact named Rim Job.
Jesus.
And then we called her Rim Job secretly.
She was a mechanic?
So did you graduate high school in 2000?
Yes.
Oh, that's a whole different. You're like post Spice Girls. You're practically a child. It's a whole different thing.
We didn't do anything with the internet until after high school. Okay. So we were like the last group that had like sort of we got to hide and we had videotapes and we had a different my mom had to find our porn.
So did you actually get to fight? Like when I was we'd have violent fights, but no one was bringing any weapons. We didn't have to worry about getting shot. We were literally we'd beat the shit out of each other and move on.
Oh, Detroit would have death matches with punks and stuff.
Okay.
Or you would definitely, but I mean, if people wanted to fight, there were like serious brawls, like even between not just like football teams, but where people would get their legs broken. But I mean, if people had an issue with each other, you would seriously have actual...
Right, like my nose looks nothing like God made it, right? And it was just, but now, I'm obviously former police officer, and I have a pretty robust criminal defense practice. Kids will fucking shoot each other now. They started about 15 years, 20 years ago. They're just willing to, it's insane. Your generation, young man.
Millennials are the worst.
I was thinking worst. Z.
I'm not Z. Yeah. No, thank you though. Yeah.
Skin. You all of Olay every night?
Yeah. Yes, every night. But yeah, millennials are the worst, and then Gen Z. Gen Z seems to just be getting more extreme with every single factor, like not just being violent.
I do. I think that, I don't want to sound like a get off my lawn 51-year-old, right? I think there are some really amazing millennials and Gen Zs, right? I think they're some incredibly hardworking. You have barriers to participation that a lot of people, like especially you as a millennial white male, right?
Hey,
you have barriers to participation that never existed before, and you have some of them that are just so incredibly impressive. But as an employer, I own a couple of small businesses. You also have some of them that fucking just act like they're entitled to everything.
Work ethic, I think, of any generation. Just don't want to work any. Then they get into the job and they expect to already have all of the credentials to be a manager, to get the promotion right when they get in.
The instant raise.
The smugness is what kills me. The smugness and I literally had an employee that I go to Europe for a couple of weeks for this car rally that I do with this rapper client of mine. And when I get back, there was stuff not done. And I asked my staff and I said, well, did so-and-so do it? And I told you, because I was in constant communication. And they were like, yeah, I texted him and told him he needed to do it. And he said, not right now, LOL. I only saw him twice when he picked up his paychecks.
Say what? No.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, this is over.
I
hate firemen. I've kept bad employees for years, but that was just, I almost sat with my legs crossed, but in your monologue, I heard the whole, so now I'm I'm insecure. I'm insecure about my masculinity. I want, Dave calling me, light later.
You got to step.
Can I say that?
Spread. That's where we
say anything you want on this show.
Okay.
We'd fine. No, I think it is interesting though. I mean, when we at least there wasn't I never knew anybody who got sued. I never knew anybody who at least amongst teenagers and young people, everybody I knew got in a fight. I had a twin brother who my dad would be like, all right, well, we have to make it even now. So then we'd have to fight each other. So it was sort of,
good parenting.
Well, like if one of us got sucker punched,
Right.
then it would have to be a real fight, you know.
finish it.
And then all the kids in our neighborhood were the same age, except for the ones who were slightly older that were bullied.
Right.
I mean, I learned about stuff way too early because the older brothers. I remember I got Easy E's "Merry Mother Effing Christmas" when I was like 7, because my friend's older brother went in and bought it for us.
Nice.
And I remember the first time I saw porn, I was also around that age, and I thought it was 2 women sharing an ice cream cone. And I was like, why? I'm like, why aren't they wearing shirts? Are they worried about getting messy? And then I realized what it was, and I was like, what? My brain exploded, and I went home and asked my dad, and he's like, I don't know, I've never heard of that. You should ask your mom when she gets home.
Ask her that.
But yeah, there was definitely, I don't know, there's just a growing up that I don't see anymore at all. And
You learn stuff, like especially if you're fighting and not shooting each other.
Right.
When you fight somebody, you learn where you are, where they are. Then you can learn how to, in like the most violent way, but get through a dispute with somebody and then move on.
Right.
A lot of guys, that's how they learn how to kind of get through those arguments.
The only time
you just don't do it anymore. It's like apparently now they just go, bam.
Well, they don't interact anymore either, right? Everything's online, and then, like you talk about suing. What's more, so now the way the police, law enforcement, and the worst thing that ever happened was law enforcement assigned to schools that needed to generate arrests and citations like every other cop. So, if I got arrested every time I got in a fist fight, right? I'd have never done anything with my life because I would have been prohibited from doing anything of any type of professional. And like if you got a fight on the basketball court, that was just regular, right? That was every damn day. And now people catch assault charges, and it's fucking nuts. Like, and you can't escape anything with social media. Think about if you had social media when you were a kid. You think you'd be sitting in this chair with your own television show? No, because we've all been fucking ruined. And we don't forgive anyone either, right? We're not allowed to evolve anymore, right?
That's the problem, is there's no redemption anymore. And that used to be part of our society, was there was a story for redemption, but now you're only owned by your worst mistake, and then they want you out forever, but you're still permanent because of the internet.
But honestly, and I was having this conversation with someone just the other day, even that rule is kind of dependent on your immutable characteristics or your demographic, right? Like little Uzi Vert, because he's non-binary, person of color, he can pistol whip his girlfriend, put a gun on her side, plead guilty, and still be everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Dave Landau pistol whips a pregnant girlfriend, and I mean, you're canceled.
It was just once.
It's just unfair.
She deserved it.
You put eyeliner on and say it's like that Ezra Miller. Like I was arguing with somebody about.
Oh yeah,
somebody was arguing with me that Ezra Miller is a lesbian, thus choking out a woman. And yes, seriously, like furious at me. Choking out a woman in Iceland was okay because it's not a man choking out a woman. It is Ezra. I've got eyeliner on, but I still bang chicks. Miller, but I'm non-binary lesbian.
A pregnant woman, by the way.
Right, yeah,
and then assaulted a guy like the next week.
Right.
And then was bailed out of jail by 2 people that he knew. And then he broke into their house, and then they filed a restraining order on him, her, Z, whatever the fuck.
Right.
And then he went on to, star in the massive failure.
Well, that's the thing. Absent the eyeliner and the non-binary status, white guy, I think one of the parents was Jewish, canceled, right?
Right.
Because he puts on eyeliner and says they, them, he gets a complete pass.
Yeah.
Not only a complete pass, but a monster DC movie.
Yeah.
That was
well, they already shot most of
garbage.
it, and they were like,
it was garbage. And that's hard for me to say because I grew up, like I learned to read very early, being shuttled from Austin, Texas to Corpus Christi in the backseat of my parents' cars at like 4 or 5 years old. Like I was in there for hours for first, third, and fifth weekend. And they would buy me comic books to shut me up. And I need to learn how to read this shit at 4 years old.
Right.
I love comic books. I love comic book movies. I love everything. What the fuck has happened to that industry in the last 3 years?
Punisher was my
political
thing.
correct. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
Punisher was my thing. I love that. I love that.
Oh,
Vigilante.
yes. Yeah, that was good shit. There was also one called Vigilante. The DC.
yes, Vigilante.
The DC response to Punisher. Actually, I think Punisher was the Marvel response to Vigilante. Was a guy, and he had more of a face mask on, but he would kill people. That was great stuff.
I always love, and you know what? I'll tell you this right now. You know who hates Miracle Sheets? Ezra Miller. That guy hates Miracle Sheets.
He does.
And I'm telling you, if he's going to beat a woman, he'd probably do them in Miracle Sheets because he hates them so much. That's why I love Miracle Sheets. These sheets have been self-cooling. They have self-cooling properties, then they give you quality sleep. The kind of quality sleep you have knowing that you're not Ezra Miller. They have fabrics inspired by NASA, and they are, personally, I love them. I didn't know if I would like them. I got sent a set. I'm a very sweaty sleeper. It's disgusting. I eat 6 ham sandwiches before I go to bed. You know what I'm saying. You sweat a lot, right? No?
What? I don't have them.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
You have to pretend. You're
I've worked it out. You're getting some.
Everybody on the team has a
amazing.
pair. I want my
There,
pair.
Dave, my asshole has never felt cooler before I got those sheets.
You have a
That's
pair
what I'm
too?
saying. They're so wonderful. You really have to. That's what you can.
I would love to. I'd love to use the code and get the extra 3 towels.
You can sleep
That'd be
bare
great.
ass because they're self-cleaning. Unlike your ass. So that's why you can get 40% off right now if you use the code NORMAL, and they're going to throw in 3 towels.
Look at that.
The
3 towels.
3 towels that a woman
could
would
dry
use
your
to
ass.
sop up blood after dating Ezra Miller. So what you need
He will pop you one.
is Miracle. I'm trying to win this sponsor over. Normal.
Yeah.
It's the code. But honestly, I love these sheets. They really do make me feel cool at night. I'm a very, very hot sleeper. I look great. And the fan's on. I got to turn it up. I turn the air down to 60.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. But now I feel even cooler thanks to Miracle Sheets. And they have the NASA, they stole the technology.
Oh, they snuck away.
Somebody broke into NASA.
Project Paperclip. They got made some.
I mean, that takes.
Made by Nazi scientists.
Yeah, that takes.
not the miracle. Made.
No,
Like,
well,
that would be
they're the better
other.
scientists.
These are better scientists.
Yes, no.
But they
these
were the better
not
scientists.
invented by Nazis. These
Yeah,
were
fine.
NASA, not. No, good. These were invented by good Nazis. Now, so what you want to do is get these the good Nazi sheets by going to miracle.com/normal, where you can get your 3-piece towel set right now, 40% off. That's trymiracle.com. You're going to love every second of it. Look at how comfy she is. She's almost saying, Ezra, leave me alone. All right, trymiracle.com/normal.
Boom.
All right.
So rappers,
Probably the best read you've ever seen in all of radio.
very good.
If that just cost you your sponsorship, it was a brave maneuver. That was great. I was wondering if he was one of the Nazis honored in Canada recently.
He could have been.
Maybe
They're doing a
you
good
mean
job of
the
that.
veteran?
Very good job praising Nazis up there in the Canada, which doesn't make much sense because it's the home of the nicest people in the world.
Yeah.
Yet,
You'd be surprised.
Fought against the Russians.
yeah, it was a great
Which
way.
side?
That was very 2023 legacy media framing right
man,
there.
it was.
Yeah.
I absolutely. I actually used to love Canada. I would go there because when you
it's
turn 19,
It's a beautiful place.
you go over there and you can go to strip clubs and drink when you're young, and it was always
that too.
fun. But yeah, it was always a nice country.
Nice
Nice people.
Yeah.
I love it. Toronto, like clean New York.
That's what's crazy is the first time I went there, I was probably 10 and we had just visited New York and
You went to a strip club at 10? That's,
yeah, it was
that's
nuts.
impressive.
Yeah, well, I was sold.
Yeah.
But-
There you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was beautiful. And I was always a fan of like Kids in the Hall and stuff because I
Yeah.
would get the broadcasting over and I loved it. But yeah, it's a shame that it's now being ran by who it's being ran by.
I have a theory that the
Dale's
people,
son.
yes, the people that are the nicest end up getting overrun by communists. So think about Canada, super nice, they're super laid back, and then
The Pacific Northwest.
it all came over.
You
And
might
then
be too young.
Australians-
Pacific Northwest was the nicest fucking part of this country. And
Exactly
now,
right.
Go to Seattle or Portland, it's fucking crazy.
right, and then Australia, they're super laid back, don't wear shoes. They're like, yeah, whatever, come over here, mate. Dude, get overrun by communists, man.
10 years ago, if you went
Complacency.
to Oregon or if you went to even Tacoma, in Washington, you went even like into Seattle, it had its parts.
Right.
Then you go into Tacoma, it was beautiful. Now it's like tense. Like it's unbelievable like what this entire country has turned into.
Well, it's the myth of the benevolent homeless. Like, I believe in a safety net, right? That people need it. We shouldn't have starving children in America. I can't co-sign the rabid right wing, you got to help yourself bullshit, or you got to go to a church to get hope. But this left wing craziness, like I had a homeless man bite me when I was a policeman. I had a homeless woman throw shit on me when I was a policeman. I've had to deal with them because they would ravage people's businesses. Either they'd set up behind and just leave shit and piss everywhere, or they would impact, because I worked in a kind of a poor part of Houston, they would impact people's ability to patronize them. And we would go up there and tell them to get the fuck gone, right? Nowadays, like I live in the historically gay, very walkable, the only walkable part of Houston is in Montrose. Wonderful area. And, my wife's not going to walk the dog without me being present, right? And is not a weapon person, but asks me, hey, you got something on you? Because it's that. And the fucking cops nowadays, there's no engagement. I believed in windows down policing. They just drive right the fuck by. And for a variety of reasons, they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get hassled. The administration is telling them, but they don't do shit. Houston is removing bus stops so the homeless don't take them over. So you see the restaurant workers and the kids going to college on our shitty mass transit system are now having to stand in the rain and the fucking sun because instead of having the metro, the bus, they have their own police department that should be going and saying, hey, fucker, you can't sleep there.
Right.
Not America. Now we got to hug them all.
Got to be all
They're the victims.
super polite.
Right.
And that, I was discussing about this the other day. I got kind of pissed on the show just discussing about the mental health and how they claim to care so much, all these politicians, about it, when obviously they don't. Every single mental health care facility has been practically shut down for the last 30 years.
Right.
And seeing that as a police officer, I was sort of talking about this the other day because I was watching Dirty Harry, and you start seeing the parallels between even then and now where, the streets started getting bad. When that movie came out, police were looked at as, calling them pigs, calling them everything. Right. And, that was kind of a pro-cop film at a time when everything was anti-cop. And I'm wondering...
Nothing like now, though.
Yeah, right. No, nothing like now at all.
Not at all.
Well, that's what I mean. But it goes in these sort of waves. But that's what I'm asking you. Was it ever anything like you've seen right now to the point that...
No. When in the 90s, when I was a police officer, people loved you being in their stores, being in their business. And mind you, I'm a drug war abolitionist. I never arrested people for drugs. I'd throw the shit away. I've always been a strong believer in the Second Amendment. I didn't give a shit if you had a gun in your car as long as you weren't jacking people and pulling it on people. I had this kind of, the only crime we should enforce is victim crime. And when I went to school in Massachusetts, I wrote a thesis on that shit 20, 30 years ago, right? How we don't need, and you talk about mental health, and people love to kind of put Reagan on this pedestal, but he was really in the wake of One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest, which a lot of people don't realize how that changed the American math on mental health and demonized institutionalizing people. They closed them all down, and now they're just sit out into the fucking streets. And at least when I was a policeman in the 90s, we were told to, hey, fucking control it, right? And now it's wide open. And the suggestion by the people in their ivory towers behind the walls who, like politicians, when politicians start talking about defund the police or abolish prison, they can say this because they have armed security all the fucking time.
Right.
And when they talk about taking away our rights to it's like when I can't go into detail, I'm not supposed to mention my kids, but one of my kids was going to Harvard, right?
Right.
And I'm driving a female child. I'm driving their shit to Harvard while they're going to fly, right? And I've got their, SUV loaded up. And I thought, well, I didn't grab any pepper spray. And I don't know why. I just Googled the ability to buy pepper spray in Massachusetts. And guess what? You can't buy fucking pepper spray. Right. So I stopped in Alabama where they had a cornucopia and you can carry it. But like pepper spray in the United Kingdom, it's prohibited by the Firearms Act, right? We're building the society where women can't protect themselves. They can't have safe spaces, right? I mean, at least women's prison, you used to not get raped, but now, well, you can. There's like New Jersey, there are states that'll just let you say, I see myself as, and hey, you get your dick cut off, okay, right?
Yeah,
and I am all for people. I am all for people living their life to their truth. I was way before the Clintons and Obamas, just strident advocate for gay marriage. I don't give a fuck what people want to do. But women need their space in sports. Women need spaces where there was a woman who got fired because she worked in a rape crisis center and she objected to them hiring staff in the rape crisis center that had penises, right? Because they're like, no, this is where we really need this fucking safe space for these women.
That's how you get raped.
And no one believes it anymore. It's fucking crazy. But, you put on eyeliner and you can be called a lesbian.
Oh, and that's the problem. That's what is the issue with mental health, though, and we're all giving into it. And that's not coddling. That's creating danger for an entire society.
Oh, and we're on the downward spiral. Right?
By far.
And we can pretend that we're not and that progressivism is going to be the solution. And mind you, I am very liberal on some issues and very conservative on some issues. And I think both parties are working together to butt fuck us at every opportunity, right? Yep. And not in the good way kind of butt fucking, right?
No.
And it's the
one I like.
Here you go. Well, I just like a finger.
Not the one you're thinking of.
But it's really just gotten to the point. And if you object to it, the threat of being canceled is so omnipresent for just having the balls. And I'm no Trump fan, but the brilliance of his, and I think he's one of the best salesmen in history, right? He's just not sane. If it had risen to the occasion of the presidency, he'd still be the president, right? Yep. If it had set the Twitter fingers down. But I'm a complete fucking hypocrite because I can't do that. I don't do it either. I will motherfucker for 3 days, right? I don't go, fuck you. Yeah. Right? I'll drive and meet a motherfucker. I'll beat you, But if do we remember the economy, right? Do we remember being able to look at you're young, you don't have it, but Dave, you remember your investment account?
Yes. Anybody who can look at the time where he was in office versus now and not
pre-pandemic time.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
It's not, and you start seeing now, like we were even going to mention this, like you start seeing people who you didn't expect to be in support of him, like this actually clip of rapper Sexyy Red, who was on Theo Vaughn's podcast, who nobody expected to support. If you want to play that.
Pound.
Yeah, they support him in the hood. Because at first, I don't think people was fucking with him like they thought he was racist, saying little shit, and, against women. But once he started getting black people out of jail and giving people their free money, oh, baby, we love Trump. We need him back in office.
Yeah, a little bit of free money goes a long way.
We need him back. Because, baby, them checks. Oh, yes, them stimulus checks. Trump, we miss you.
That's like Whoa Vicky. She's always talking about Trump. You see her ever?
I like Trump. No, I ain't never seen Whoa Vicky.
She's funny.
I love Trump, though. He funny to me. Like, I used to watch his interviews, not interviews, like him talking to people. He used to be calling people fat.
Yeah.
He just bold.
Wow.
He funny. Like, we need people like him.
Well,
now, I know you work with a lot of rappers. I don't know if you want to speak for them, but do you find that to be true?
I do know, I'm not going to, I do know people that look at it as, I think he's a fucking asshole, but I was in a better economic position. And I think that's what, first of all, do you think her booty hole is really brown? Because,
Actually, we have a rendition of,
Do we have a rendition?
We have a Glenn Beck reciting her lyrics about the butt hole.
I do like when he reads rap. Let's throw it up.
I'm out of town, thuggin' with my rounds. My female body part, pink. My body part that both male and female have, brown. Where the N-words come looking for the hose. Quit playing N-word. Come suck a B-word's toes. Pound Town.
Pound Town.
That was fucking brilliant. I would like to believe in a world where that's all Glenn does, right? He steps off his mountain of money, kind of like Smog, and comes down and just gets the latest, most offensive rap lyrics and reads them for his audience. That was fucking brilliant.
Now she should be on the show.
My friend Tom Cotter has a great bit about where he simultaneously reads the song that was just canceled, which was Baby It's Cold Outside, and then reads the #1 song in America, which is Wet Ass Pussy, to an audience. And it's just, the juxtaposition is just absolutely brilliant to show like how far we've fallen of what we find offensive. Like it's cold outside, maybe you should stay for another drink. And then it's like, suck it.
Pound Town. Pound Town.
It's
our culture now.
It's a different. Do we have culture left? You kids have ruined it, right? I'm kidding.
Yeah, we have.
And I do love.
I agree.
I feel like I love a lot of fucking rap music, and I like that real gangster shit, right? And I personally know a lot of rappers, and most of them are completely full of shit, like it's a facade. But some of them aren't, right? And they are the best lyricists and You know, and I like the most honest ones. Like, have you ever heard Lil Wayne
of course.
talk about his love for police officers and his objection to because he had a white cop. And he tells this great story about how, you know, he'd accidentally shot himself. All these African-American New Orleans cops come, they just step over his body. White cop gets there, throws him in the patrol car, rushes him to the hospital, saves his fucking life. And there is tremendous things we need to change with our policing paradigm, especially as it addresses black men. Because truly, the war on drugs is just a vehicle to oppress black men and poor people. Right?
Always was.
And and we absolutely, you know, Nixon is the one that ramped it up. And I mean, there are crazy things we need to fix. But, you know, Wayne got it exactly right. We need, and with this new era of not policing victim crime. And like I've been invited, and I've stopped being invited to talk at like local forums on police reform, right? And I went in naive, like, oh, we're really going to talk about how to fix fucking policing. But instead, it is just why my BLM organization's better than that BLM organization. You need to give me money. It's all just, you know, people clapping to requests for fundraising and no one wanting to have a real talk about how do we fix it. And you need to fix it for the people that like BLM purports that they're
to care about,
but they don't, right? And of course, the white Republicans, they don't give a fuck, right? They could care, and that's the problem with the Republican Party is they don't engage in outreach. They're not trying to help people, you know. But Democrats have just destroyed this country, and the Republicans, when they're in control, they destroyed the best political era of my life. Bill Clinton was getting his dick sucked. And it was had a Republican Congress and a Republican Senate, and the three of them fucking worked together to achieve shit.
But remember how great it was?
It was fucking great.
And the worst problem in the country was that.
Right.
And also, I'm just sad they honestly didn't kill her, because it's like, shouldn't you just have murdered her and nobody find out, like the way that they used to do?
You got rid of some of the
other. Got rid of Norma Jean. How did she make it? But honestly, that was the biggest, like, SNL ripped on a Democratic president.
They don't fucking do that anymore.
No, right? Because you can't, like, you're supposed to make fun of who's in power, and all of a sudden we have somebody who's never been worse, in my opinion, in power.
And it's, I think there was a lot of corruption in the Trump administration, and I got a lot of rage listeners and flack.
Of course.
You know, I've got a local talk radio show on one of our iHeart stations, and I throw darts at both sides. I threw a lot of barbs at Trump. But the thing is, I also applauded him. Like, he had the only comprehensive drug war reform in the history of the modern drug war on the executive side, on the presidential side, right? We were doing well, but
she was right. She said he was setting people free that were in there for just small drug.
But now we are like California is setting people free that murder people. Right. And it's fucking crazy. And you hear story after story after story of people, and you know, I do criminal defense work. I like to focus on the drug war stuff because I think they don't need to be in prison. But we have these incredibly violent people. It's like the two fucking dickheads that ran over the retired police chief in Vegas.
It's disgusting.
The both apparently identified as white on their booking form. Because we're trying to, you know, no one wants to talk about the real math of crime, right?
Right.
But the one kid, the driver, said, oh, I'll be out in 30 days with extreme confidence, right? But we're building this culture where people believe they can victimize others without consequence. And who suffers the most? Well, the most victimized are people of color, right? People want to talk about, you know, white racists want to talk about black crime as if somehow black people are more predisposed to, which I disagree. I think it's downstream from the legacy of Jim Crow and poverty.
It's class.
And when you look at white people that grew up in similar conditions, you have a higher rate of crime. But the people they victimize the most are black people, poor black people, right? And when these criminals are not just victimizing the poor, but they're attacking stores and stuff, you're creating pharmaceutical deserts, you're creating food deserts, you're creating retail deserts. So they're destroying the quality of life for people of color across this country, and then for everyone in cities like San Francisco. You've been to San Francisco lately?
It's a nightmare.
It's Oakland. Oakland looks like it's fucking Lebanon during the war, right? And do you remember? I mean, I remember taking my kids. Like, I grew up without money. So when I started fucking making lawyer money, right, we were fucking going everywhere doing everything. And because I wanted my kids, who are both very successful adults now, to have a different expectancy of life and experience than I had. You know, I remember fucking listening to friends talk about their vacation, and I'm like, I never got to do that. You know, my vacation was sleeping in a fucking tent in a state park, you know, which that's why I don't fucking camp. That's speaking of, like, you put me up in the Hilton Garden Inn, right? Sure. There's an empty room next to the freeway somewhere. I'm at the Las Colinas Resort, all right, in a fucking suite with a balcony overlooking the lazy river, because that's how I fucking roll, right? But it's you want your kids to experience. I remember taking them to San Francisco, and although the people were always douchebags, it was just fucking lovely. Yeah. And you go now, and it's like, well, we can't carry a gun, but we're carrying pepper spray, right? And it's the worst places that are also disarming the most fucking people, right? Like Chicago, well, guns, you can't carry them anywhere, but all the bad guys have guns. So, well, who's the only one getting prosecuted for it? It's like I've got a stiletto over here, a very expensive one, hard to get, about a $500 one, great automatic knife. It's a felony in many states. And in fact, me and a business partner, we're going to do a road trip for this recruiting business I have, and hit a bunch of cities, meet with a bunch of financial advisors. And I said, hey, man, you don't have that stiletto on you, because he's the one that turned me on to it. And we had to go by my office and drop it off, because it was going to be a felony in 3 or 4 of the states once we got out of the Deep South. Because so many of these places don't want you to be able to defend yourself. And it gets worse. They don't want you to be able to report crime. Houston, if you call 911 now, it literally says if it's theft or vandalism and it's less than $5,000, you need to report it online. My dad his truck got hit. He went to visit one of my kids. His truck got hit in a hit and run in Austin. But some passerby got the license plate. I tracked that motherfucker down. It was a valet at a DoubleTree, right? Okay. I tracked the guy down. He's like, oh, yeah, no, I parked my car. They wouldn't respond, because they don't respond to hit and runs unless there's a suspect there. Well, that's not how hit and runs work. But then when I tracked the motherfucker down that fucking night, they wouldn't come out either. I'm like, well, you told me the last time I called. They wouldn't even let you go to the police station to make a report. You either make it online. I threw such a tantrum. It took me 3 weeks to make an actual live report, right? Then 2 months later, I get, we talked to him, and he didn't realize he hit your dad's brand new truck. $3,000 worth of damage, hit it and backed the fuck up and took off, right? And that's this world we're building, where you can't report crime, where cops aren't responding to crime. So cops are really just now, and there are plenty of good cops. This is an administration issue, not a rank and file issue. Right. That they're just out there fucking taxing people. It's just prohibition and taxing, right? And who are they taxing? Well, they want to, now, because we're not arresting people for warrants, they want to write tickets to those of us on our way to fucking work, because they're the ones. And like, I was the presiding
judge. Just got a ticket yesterday.
Because you look like somebody that would fucking pay it. They're not going to pull you over. Like now in LA, they're not pulling people over for driving around without license plates. Why? Because, well, they're just not doing it. But the truth is, because those are the people committing the fucking robberies, and you might have a fucking real altercation, right? When I was a policeman, you were trying to fight crime. Sure, we had a quota, right? I'd get my quota on the assholes driving without insurance, and I'd get it really fucking easy, right? But our main focus on night shift patrol was fucking criminals, right? And I mean, people beating the shit out of their wives. I'd get to your house, your wife's blamed. I don't mean an argument. Now they'll arrest people for arguing, right? Fuck that. But you get there and you've got somebody that's beat the shit out of their wife. You got one chance. All right, turn around, put your hands around. You didn't. There was no pepper spray. There was no baton. I was going to fucking whoop your ass until I got you handcuffed. Once I got you handcuffed, I would fucking stop. Cops will go and arrest a guy for screaming at his wife, right? But they don't want to respond to actual fucking crime. And they're making the people they profess to protect, black people, or the America's urban poor, are the ones suffering the most. It's fucking crazy.
If they do go and respond and they put somebody in a chokehold or put them on the ground and they die of some other thing, the entire world can burn and they get their entire life ruined. So
yeah, it's a really, I mean, I get it, but my thought on that is if you take an oath, you need to obey the fucking oath, right? Nobody cares about oaths in this world anymore, right? But
or other people's property, or other people's
or themselves,
or other people. It's like you said, even with that, like if I had somebody's car, I would have a complete guilt in me,
right,
not to do something and be like, "Look, man, I'm sorry. Let's figure this out."
Right.
I can't imagine driving away from something because I respect my own personal property. But people have been taught, or at least seem to feel, that there's no pride of ownership anymore. And they want to take away ownership anyway, it feels like.
There's no consequence. I was driving home from the courthouse, and I watched this car hit another car, right? And the car fortunately got in front of him and stopped him, and I got behind him and claimed that she didn't realize she hit him, right? And it was an older black man in a pickup truck, and this younger woman, African-American woman in basically a bra and spandex. And, it seemed like it was cool. So I just gave him my business card. I said, I can't represent you on this, but if you need a witness, I take off. He calls me like 30 minutes later, crying. Now, my house is 5 minutes away, so I go back over there. Everyone's African-American in this guy. The 2 African-American young cops start barking at me for walking up, right? This fucking I was probably 49-year-old ex-judge. And I'm like, hey, no, I was just a witness. The victim called me, said, y'all are refusing to even take a report? Like, yeah, it's not $1,000 worth of damage. I'm like, why don't you look at the quarter panel? It's all destroyed. This is fucking, You're right, it's not 1,000, it's probably 3,000. They wouldn't even make her give him her insurance information, let alone, because she said she didn't hit him, right? And I said, well, I did. I was behind her. She absolutely fucking hit him. And she starts, look at this fucking white guy doing, like the first mention of race was her.
Yeah.
And these cops were completely uninterested. Then I pull out my phone and said, hey, you know what? Until I became a judge, I sat on the board of the Houston Police Foundation. Let me call an assistant chief and see what's going on. And all of a sudden, they're being fucking helpful. But how many people are in situations like this where my daughter, and again, I'm breaking the rules. So she had a window shattered in San Francisco and stuff stolen out. She goes to the police department, make a report, and is told, well, the person that took the stuff probably needed it. That's what a fucking desk person is. It's fucking crazy.
What? Dude, what is going on? So you don't think it's like an issue with the rank and file? You said it's an administration issue.
I think it's both. I think it's both. I think a lot of people
because some of that sounds
right.
You should be hit with a shoe for saying that.
Yeah,
it's fucking Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? Who this play actor talking about the looting is so people can feed their fucking families. Fuck you. They're not stealing TVs for that shit, right?
Well, and I lived in New York and in Harlem doing Anthony Cumia's show during, when you're saying all these rights getting taken away and the lack of women having, any sort of protection, being left completely to where there's no vulnerability. I mean, You're talking about cops not being in the subway, women being attacked and almost raped in broad daylight. Like, it's disgusting. I mean, the idea that we don't even care about our vulnerable anymore and the way that just started. And then we had de Blasio there at the time, who was absolutely one of
fucking horse.
He should be in prison, dude.
So de Blasio, a good friend of mine had a bar and grill in Tribeca, right? She's a wonderful lady, husband a New York fireman. Colin Quinn would do a thing there every year. And I actually hosted for him the last couple of times because his old partner, ex-cop, had died. And very cool. She would offer millions of dollars for her business, which obviously is a lease. Most of them are leases, but for the business itself, before the pandemic, she ended up fucking losing it because de Blasio losed everything, got fucking nothing because de Blasio would open them and close them and open them and close them. All this fictional rent relief, none of it went to business owners.
None.
Right? Now, they prevented fucking small business people who had rental space from evicting people that fucking, wouldn't pay rent for fucking 7-8 months.
Oh, yeah.
But the people that had a commercial space leased, I think I read somewhere like 60% of the small restaurants in New York closed down permanently because fucking de Blasio. And that's the thing, like, I know people that died. The woman who was my chief clerk died within 6 days. I know a policeman that died. One of my son's friends from high school, the mom died. COVID was really killing people, right? They were all comorbidities, fat people, right?
Yeah.
But
it's like the flu.
But the fucking, and so I am not, when people are melting down about a small business saying, hey, you got to wear a mask, like, shut up, pussies, put on the mask. But on the flip side, the mandatory lockdowns and the mandatory look, man, if it's your property, if it's your property and you want people to wear a mask, you should be allowed to do it. If you don't like it, don't patronize it, right? I was not a pro-mask wearer, but that's the thing. But people are melting down. This store told me to just fucking put it on, shut up, or don't go to the fucking store. But the government telling you had to have it, or the government telling, like I had some vaccine hesitant and never got it employees. I said, because remember they were talking about making us fire employees if they didn't vax. Like the government was telling private employers, and I was like, fuck it, we'll take it to the Supreme Court. I'm not firing y'all. Y'all do whatever the fuck you want. It's like the lockdowns. How fucking stupid was that shit, right? If people want to stay home, if people are they have an immunodeficiency that they are more susceptible for the death, stay the fuck home.
Yeah.
But why did all of us? And then we have, like you saw Sexyy Red. They're all, she talking about how they gave these little bitty ass checks. Well, they just gave them to poor people, right? So everyone on welfare who was still getting benefits got a fucking bonus. Anyone with a real job didn't get shit.
Or a small business, some break.
So here's the thing with that small business shit. Yeah, you had all those loans that were forgiven, but like I banked at Chase and I didn't apply the first. I was like, this is bullshit. I don't need the government's money. But for the second round, my account, everybody, so I go to Chase. Well, Chase wasn't interested in helping me. I only have a handful of employees. All that money went to fucking church, like charismatic church fuckers who then bought jets with it. Fucking Tom Brady. Why did he need fucking 40 grand, So we did this and basically just got the rich are rich. And it's like the fucking homeless money, right? You talk about people not caring, like these fucking, people not getting mental health. We have a multi-billion-dollar homeless bureaucracy that achieves nothing except giving billions of dollars to hotel owners who then take a little sliver of that and give it back to the politicians that gave them. Did you hear about the 90-year-old Korean War veteran kicked out of his fucking residence in New York to put fucking
disgusting.
Illegal entrance in?
And I just walked by. I was just there doing Fox a couple weeks ago. Yeah. And I was walking by the Roosevelt Hotel, and it's no joke. There are illegal immigrants surrounding the corner,
right.
Going into the building, being checked in, up to 2 floors. I can show pictures on tomorrow's show. But I walked by, because you always think something's maybe a little exaggerated, right?
Right.
But then you see it and you go, well, this is way worse than it was being described as.
And they don't let you film.
And it's not, and I'm not, and I know a lot of people that are going to be, disagree or be pissed, but it's like you look at people and you go, like there's a zero sympathy thing, whatever. It's like someone's telling them it's fine to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem is there is somebody at the top who's telling them it's okay because that's not hiding in plain sight. That is at a one-time very expensive $300 a night hotel, checking people in and allowing them to be in New York City right there in one of the hottest places that you can live.
Right, and they did it first with homeless shelters. Turning out like there's a hotel right across the street from the night at the museum. Now that they had to tear down the Teddy Roosevelt fucking statue, because oppressor. But there was this great hotel right across the street from that. One of the original like walk-in Shake Shacks was across. Great. The Excelsior, I think. And
I know.
They just fucking turned it into a shelter, right? And it's really fucking crazy how willing these far left, because I'm a reasonable centrist, right, which makes me the most evil. What's crazy is Silicon Valley and the mainstream, the legacy media, they just fucking lie about it. You talk about the realities of what's going on. And of course, these New York governor, the Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, he's doubled down. They've been preening and lecturing about it until they got a little taste of it, right? Imagine what these Rio Grande Valley cities have been dealing with. And if the government's telling us 5 million people have entered unlawfully during the Biden administration, it means it's 10 or fucking 15, right? There we are getting more illegal entrants, which now they're calling asylees, into this country than the population of Montana every fucking month. And I am pro-immigration, right? I think it should be far easier for people from Latin America to come here. I think it should be far easier for poor people around the world to come here. But legally, lawfully, and if you break the fucking law, if you commit a victim crime, I'm not talking about fucking getting caught with drugs, then you get thrown the fuck out. Right? I have so many clients that can never go, you get a DWI, fuck, Canada's dead to you. I love listening to Canada lecture.
I was out for a decade.
Yeah, you can't fucking do shit.
Never go in?
No, you can't go in at all.
10 years I couldn't go in.
For DW, misdemeanor DWI. Fucking Japan, they don't fucking let anyone. I got
they don't
clients
mess
that want to go fucking do music tours there because they love the rent. They can't fucking go over there. But the world wants to lecture us on how we should be, and so many people fucking sop it up. And it's because we have all these play actors, these people. It's very easy if you're a politician with paid security to tell regular people they don't fucking need it.
Yep.
But
no, you're 100% right, and we unfortunately are running out of time. Can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Really for coming. Honestly,
Great.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. I know you had topics, and I just rambled on.
Whatever.
This is. I really wanted you more for the interview,
Cares.
so we just had topics in case we needed to go to something. So I appreciate it. And honestly, thank you. Really, I hope you come back.
I loved it. Thank you
was
for
great.
having me.
Thank you. And we will end on the show tonight on FEMA. We just got to make sure we put our alert out. So we throw to that. But you can see me and Derek. Oh my God, is that it?
You said throw to it.
That was our FEMA alert.
You said.
That was our FEMA alert.
I recorded that with her before the show.
All right, what was that?
It doesn't. It's not gonna make sense now.
Okay, let's hear our FEMA alert.
I'm sick of this hat. Stupid brain. Gotta get serious work. What's going on?
I have IBS and I was on speakerphone with Ken.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for the camera to turn and you into a bucket.
It's just, you know how I am. You know how I roll.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we could probably still do the end of the world then. But we don't have to do that question. I'm going to ask a different question.
Oh, okay. Oh,
maybe.
All right.
Actually, well, yeah. Let's do this. Let's do this question. You know, rap. And unfortunately, we didn't get into it because I did want to ask you about the guy who may have killed Tupac.
Okay.
Do you think he did it?
Keefe D. It's been known that Keefe D. was involved in Tupac's.
I know he's involved. Yeah.
For two decades. He was the one in charge, right? Yes. So Keefe D. and Tupac had an incident at the Soul Train Awards a couple of weeks before. This has always been Vegas PD just not prioritizing a solution, right? They're talking about, we persevered, we were persistent. Bull fucking shit. Tupac's mom sued this fucker's cousin 2 decades ago. Everyone knew Keefe D fucking had him killed, right? And the guy wrote a book about it, right? And yes, he absolutely was, and he'll get convicted, but this isn't something to applaud. It should have happened 2 decades ago.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else is dead, right?
Well, yeah, it should have happened the night it happened when I was a teenager and I was still winning Biggie and Tupac mirrors at the State Fair when I popped balloons.
There you go.
Dude, I loved Biggie and Tupac, man. So let's, before we get to that question, though, the final question, this weekend you can see me Friday. I will be in Lexington, Michigan at the Lexington Music Theater, and Saturday I will be at the State Theater in Bay City, Michigan. Also, you can see me at the LSQ March 23rd, 2024 in the UK.
Leicester Square. Leicester.
Yes.
Leicester.
And then where can we find you? Straight Up Ask, I think.
Yeah, I'm on Fox Soul. I'm on 950 AM KPRC. I'm on the local Fox affiliate, but it's Big Angry Law on Instagram. That's really my social media of choice.
Yes, sir.
You say Straight Up Ass?
Ask.
Oh.
I'm Midwestern, so I sound
You can find me
stupid.
on Friday Night Tights on Nerdrotic Live, my channel, and Adam Krigler's channel on Mondays, where we do a show called BlazeTV Mondays.
All right, here's the question. It's going to be hard because I know you work with rappers, but who would you rather see brought back, Biggie or Tupac?
Tupac all day. Biggie's biggest hit was stolen from a Mississippi artist by Sean Combs.
Really?
He absolutely
I did not know
stolen. That. Tupac was not always the greatest person, but he was a brilliant songsmith. He could go from the amusing lyrical of Digital Underground where he started to the heavy West Coast shit. And he kind of floated between East and West, but I'm at Third Coast, UGK for fucking Live Zero, what's up? But but after Third Coast, West Coast all day. The last good rap album was probably The Games, and I like Kanye and Dre, they do interesting stuff. Kanye's a genius, but it's not real fucking rap. If someone's not talking about fucking your girlfriend or killing your fucking dad or best friend, I don't really want to fuck.
You're not a fan of Drake? Love the Drake
pre-2015 Drake, and I know a super nice guy, super kind.
You see, he just gave like $50K to a
greatest fucking guy. But crazy. I don't fuck with this new kind of world music. Like when he was so he learned how to rap in Houston. And
really?
That's where he come up.
Canadian boy.
But he came down. He lived down in Houston. Okay. His first big show, Warehouse Live. Shout out to that venue. Bun B was kind of his steward, one of my dearest friends. And when him, like his last good album was the one he did with Future, right? When he was still doing gangster adjacent rap, this new like soft pop, I don't even know the songs, like Like I'm hearing like Annie, are you okay? But that's Michael Jackson. But like, do you love me or what the fuck?
It's
I don't.
easy,
that's not my fucking rap music. I don't want a Dominican beat, and I want real fucking rap music. No, as a middle-aged white guy,
It's why I loved Eazy-E. Well, one, he was short, so I related, but he was the greatest to me of all time. And most of his songs ended with him gunning down a lot of people and then getting into the rap.
The only thing I'll say about my wife was when I met her, she could spit every fucking word of Eazy's album.
And that's how you know you met the love of your life. Yeah, there's no reason.
Will you marry me?
He's my all-time favorite, so.
Oh, yeah. The fucking best.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting Tupac. Yeah. Totally, yeah. I like both of them, but I think Tupac's better. He's got more memorable songs to me.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I've heard some of the Sean Combs stuff over the years because he's taken a lot of stuff over the years, but so that doesn't exactly shock me. I think Biggie was talented, but
clearly talented.
Yeah. Sean Combs
just didn't have the originality that Tupac did.
Right. But Tupac was incredible. And also, when you look at this body of work to be dead at 25, you're like, dude, and then still releasing it for so long after.
Well, he was in a lot of movies. He was a good actor, too. 3,000 songs done when he died.
Yeah.
And you're no bullshit. He was quite a fucking actor.
Yeah, he was. Juice is great.
Yeah, he made good movie. What was the one he made with Belushi? There was a cop movie.
It was
Nothing
called
But Trouble.
No, that
was.
No.
In it. Tupac was in that.
No, that was Dan Aykroyd and John Candy though.
Yeah.
The Belushi one was.
Pac really in that?
Yes,
no.
yes.
It was because Digital Underground was in it.
And
then he gets thrown in a roller coaster. The one you're thinking of is Undercover something.
Yes,
I think it is maybe just Undercover.
I think it's just Undercover.
Yeah, which is actually a good movie.
I never saw the one with Janet Jackson where they were like in
Poetic Justice. There's a scene with Frank Vincent.
He's really good in that.
Because again, I'm heteronormative, so I didn't see that movie.
Frank Vincent just starts beating this woman for dating a black guy, and Artie used to say that was 5 seconds before the director said action. Ouch. Ooh. It's just very Italian. Like Frank Vincent played it off very much, the way that an Italian dad at that time would have behaved. Just saying. Angela, Tupac or Biggie?
I'm going to go Biggie because I have to be really bad right now.
Oh, okay.
Why? Do you have a Biggie reason?
Yeah. He's biggier.
Okay, I'm going to.
Wow. Okay.
We're going to work on this. I'm going to go Tupac, and I'm going to thank you all for listening. Good night.
Peace.